All right, good morning, friends. Welcome to Lessons in Leadership. This week, we move on to chapter 4 of our new study series based on John Maxwell's book, Leadership Gold. And the title of this chapter is When You Get Kicked in the Rear, You Know You're Out in Front. Now, remember, there's 26 lessons in this series. So you're going to want to make sure to like and subscribe to the channel right now so that you're notified when the next lesson becomes available. And if you missed one of the first 3 chapters, you can always go back and catch up on those. Also, if you'd like the show notes, if you'd like the leadership training worksheets, the biblical alignment check, and the teaching video of today's lesson, just please shoot me a quick email at billstorm@billstorm.com and I'll send them your way. Okay, so this is a study series. So what we're doing is we are going through the notes that I've taken down on the chapter, and then it's up to you to discern whether or not the things that John has to say or share are going to be a good fit for you and your leadership style. Just because John says them or just because any other author that we cover says something doesn't mean that it's gospel. This is up for us to actually study to see what's going to work well for us. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into chapter 4. So if you're a leader making progress, you are going to face criticism. That is just a fact. So John's 4th lesson in Leadership Gold really cut straight to the core of this leadership reality. The more that you lead, the more criticism that you're going to attract. So you've got to just own it and enjoy it, okay? So instead of fearing it, John suggests embracing criticism as a signpost of leadership success, not failure. So that's the story that you tell yourself, right? So if you're getting more criticism, you say, yes, bring it on. That means I'm on the right track versus getting all bent out of shape about it, okay? So in fact, if no one's really questioning you or even resisting you, it may be a sign that you're wishy-washy, right? It may be a sign that you're not leading boldly enough. So what does it really mean to get kicked in the caboose, right? And how should you respond when that happens? So let's go ahead and break it down. Here are the key takeaways that I jotted down from this chapter. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Number 1, criticism is inevitable for leaders who are out in front, right? It takes courage to be out in front. It takes courage to blaze the trail. So of course, people are going to be, backseat drivers. They're going to, have criticism about the direction that you're taking the team or where you're going and whether they agree with it or not. So leadership by its very nature involves change, and change almost always provokes resistance. So John reminds us that if you're doing something meaningful or you're doing something new, somebody is going to question you about it, right? It's not a matter of if they're going to do it, but when they're going to do it. So this is especially true when you're leading from a place of conviction. If you're challenging the status quo, which is me, I do this all the time, even what I'm doing here, right? Questioning what an author says, sometimes agreeing with it, and sometimes flat out disagreeing with it. I'm challenging the status quo. I'm not just going along with it. So some people may agree with what I have to say about something, and somebody may oppose it. And that's okay. And honestly, the more opposition I get to it, the better. That means people are actually paying attention and listening to the lesson. Okay. So the way John puts it, you don't get kicked in the rear unless you're out in front. So it's basically a reminder that criticism often means you're actually making that forward progress. Takeaway number 2, criticism reveals more about the critic than the leader. Criticism reveals more about the critic than the leader. So one of John's most liberating insights is that criticism often stems from the critic's own insecurity, their own misunderstanding or resistance to change. Now, that doesn't mean that the feedback should be ignored, but it does mean we need to evaluate the source and its motive. So not all criticism is created equal. Some is rooted in envy, some of it's in fear, or some of it's flat out ignorance. Some, however, does carry some truth, right? So the wise leader learns to separate helpful feedback from just harmful noise. And we see this every day, all day in our lives. And you definitely see it when it comes, all you have to do is turn on the news and you can see criticism after criticism after criticism after criticism. And most of the time, the people that are doing all the criticizing are people that are absolutely doing nothing to solve the problem, but they love to sit there and criticize what's happening out there in the leaders of the world are doing, right? I always think about that. I said, man, I would hate to be a leader out there in this country trying to make something happen, because that's all you're going to get. You get backseat drivers telling you how they think things should be done when they've never sat in your seat before and have no idea the enormous amount of pressure that you face in that position. Number 3, how you respond to criticism determines your leadership capacity. So great leaders aren't derailed by criticism. They don't get all bent out of shape. Instead, they use it to grow. So John encourages leaders to listen with discernment, respond with grace, which is a hard one to do, to respond with grace, and then just keep your head down and keep moving forward. So John emphasizes that resilience in the face of criticism is a leadership superpower. So the key isn't to avoid the criticism, but to learn how to process it without letting it personally affect you or being paralyzed by it. Okay, so there's a few takeaways. Let's get into some action steps that you can take. Number 1, expect criticism as a sign of progress. So change your mindset. When criticism comes, don't immediately assume you're doing something wrong. Ask yourself more empowering questions. Am I being bold? Am I moving forward? And if so, that criticism might actually be confirmation that you're on the right track. So this is kind of like inspecting what you expect of yourself, but it's also doing a heart check and a gut check to make sure that you're doing the right things for the right reasons. And if you know in your heart, or you believe fully in your heart that you're doing something for the right reason and you're moving forward and you get criticism for it, keep your head down and just keep going. Number 2, consider the source and consider the intent. So before reacting, ask yourself, who's criticizing me and why? Are they qualified, right? And do they understand the whole picture? Do they have my best interest at heart, or the mission's best interest at heart, right? So you have to learn how to filter people out, because 99% of the people that are criticizing you when they're not willing to step up to the plate and do the work or contribute to the solution themselves. So most people can flat out be ignored. I mean, to be honest with you, right? You have to be very, very careful who you're allowing into your headspace. Number 3, look for the lesson even in harsh words. So even unfair criticism may carry a seed of truth. So you have to train yourself to ask questions like this. What can I learn from this? Right? Is there any truth to this? Let me dissect what they're saying and find out if there is any truth to this at all. So this posture keeps you humble, okay? This process keeps you growing. You can always learn something from someone. So yes, you have to filter out the negative, but if somebody's coming to you with a valid point and they're presenting it to you in a mature way, then you can now dissect it and discern whether or not there's some truth to that or not. Number 4, don't let critics set the agenda. So one of the biggest dangers, right, as a leader is getting distracted by people who are not aligned with your vision. Stay focused. Lead from your values, lead from your convictions, not from the desire to please everyone. This is one of the things that I 100% agree with. We have gotten into this place in our lives where we feel like we need to be politically correct about everything. Okay? That is horrible. You have to draw a line in the sand and you have to stand for something and expect criticism. And the better you get at staying true to who you are as a leader and as a person, the more criticism you're going to get, but that is going to tell you you're definitely in the right track. Do not try to ride both sides of the fence. It just doesn't work. So John teaches this. He says, if you're a people pleaser, you're not a leader. You're a follower with a title. Ooh, listen to that. If you're a people pleaser, you're not a leader. You're a follower with a title. Number 5, build a feedback circle that you can trust. So every leader needs a council of truth tellers, right? King Solomon says, seek wise counsel. John says, wise, honest people who know your mission and care about your growth. This can help you because they will help you process criticism with clarity and provide you actual feedback that you can trust, right? Something that's going to help move you forward. So here's a final thought for today's lesson. Being kicked in the rear isn't a sign that you failed. It's proof that you're moving forward. Progress invites pushback. And bold leaders literally invite criticism. You want criticism, but it also opens the door to real change. So don't fear criticism. Use it as a compass, a character builder, if you will, right? And a sign that you're out in front where leaders belong. And if you want to make a difference, you have to be willing to take some hits. That's the reality of it. You have to be willing to take some hits, but the reward is worth it. The growth of your team, the advancement of your vision, and the strengthening of your character. So John reminds us with this, you're either making dust or eating it. That's the first time I've heard that one, right? You're either making dust or you're eating it. So if you're out in front stirring things up, take heart. That's what leaders do. So here's a few action steps that you can take this week, and you can write these 5 down. Reflect, discern, decide, encourage, and lead. So let's go to number 1, reflect. What criticisms have you received lately? Was it warranted or was it off base? And how did you process it? Did you process it in a positive way or did you let it get to you? Number 2 is discern. Who are the voices in your life that you can truly trust for honest feedback? Who supports your go up goals, as Zig Ziglar would say? Number 3 is decide. Is there a criticism you need to learn from or let go of, more importantly, right? Make a decision. Don't waffle in the middle, right? Figure out, is there something that I can learn from this? Or is it something I just need to let it go? Number 4, encourage. Think of someone on your team who took a risk and received some pushback, right? These are your thinkers. These are the people that you want on your team, people that are coming up with out of the box thinking ideas and solutions, and they're willing to take some risks. And maybe they got some pushback for it. So spend some time and help them reframe it so they also see it as progress. You're basically creating leaders, right? You're a leader in training. And then number 5 is lead. Keep going. You're out in front. That's where you were meant to be. That's what you were born to do. That's how you got in that position. And not everybody on your team is going to understand you. That's why you're the leader and they're not, right? You are out in front forging the path. So there's our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you would like to get the show notes, I've got a leadership training workshop for you. I've got a biblical alignment check and also the teaching video of today's lesson. Please just shoot me a quick email at billstorm@billstorm.com, and I'm happy to send them your way. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel here for more leadership content and team development resources. Have a great day, and we'll see you back for Chapter 5.